a memo issued by the Director of Human Resource at the Electoral Commission to the head office and the regional directors of the commission has raised a lot of issues. Now, I'll just let Annie project that particular memo. And this memo is dated the 29th of May 2023, so that should be Monday. And it reads, I bring you greetings from the corporate head office of the commission. Here is the Electoral Commission. This comes to inform you that the office of the president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has requested for the curriculum vitae of senior management of state agencies. So underline that, state agencies, from director and above. You are therefore requested to submit your CV by noon today, 29th of May 2023, through echrdirectorate@gmail.com for the attention of the commission, and it's signed by Samuel D. Bwedu, who is the Director of Human Resource. Now, this has generated a lot of issues, and there is an interesting perspective to this that I read on I actually read on Facebook by Professor Ransford Jampo on this issue. And I'll just read what he wrote. It says, Dear President Akufo-Addo, why do you want to do this to an independent commission? It appears under your tenure, you're doing everything you can to decimate the independence of all independent institutions, but to what end? The history of Ghana's Fourth Republic shows that you're currently the worst president in promoting the sanctity of the independence of the Electoral Commission. Unfortunately, there aren't courageous people around you to tell you to back off your attempts at annexing the Electoral Commission. Back in the day, Dan Botry, as General Secretary of the NPP, could boldly tell President Kufuor in the face to back off his attempt to usurp the procurement powers of the Electoral Commission, and the President had no choice than to listen. Please leave office and leave the sanctity of our independent institutions intact. This is not a practice worth emulating or repeating. Sir, this demand is unnecessary, and its optics for the quest to deal with the independence deficit of the Electoral Commission are bad. But the Electoral Commission, too, must not be seen to be swallowing everything thrown to them by the President hook, line, and sinker. As an independent commission, it is backed by law to resist every attempt at subjugating the commission under the executive president. So this is the view expressed by Professor Ransford Jampo on this particular matter. And there are people who have expressed varied reasons on this issue, that the issue of CVs of people holding the positions of director and above in the state agencies. For example, if it is a state agencies under SIGA, for example, there could be a basis. But when now you see that this is a constitutional body, I mean, not recently, I interviewed Dr. Sribo here, I don't know if you watched it, where he was speaking about the constitution and whether they are bound by Parliament's decision. Yeah, you on the show, and all that, yes. And people have also raised the issue of the Public Services Commission of Ghana, to even say that, look, if they're receiving anything to deal with even some of these institutions, it shouldn't be this. And now this is being extended to constitutional bodies. We don't know which other constitutional body is affected by this. But of course, if once you see the Electoral Commission in there, we've been sent with this letter. And for what purpose? Why, what do they need the CVs for?
Randy, I read this memorandum this morning. It's a very short memorandum. I read it. And so many questions popped up in my head, and I've not been able to find answers to them yet. And the first question is, what is the purpose? Why would the president be in such a hurry? Because it actually gives the directors and above less than 24 hours to provide their CVs. Less than 24 hours. There must be some extreme urgency about this matter. Now, these persons are already at post. They are directors. They may be chief directors and so on. They are already at post. How come that all of a sudden, within 24 hours, they need to provide their CVs? What is it intended for? Are we going to dismiss them? Are we going to replace them? What is going to happen? What is going to happen to these CVs when they finally reach the president? Very interesting. Now, it is interesting also to note that in fact this memo is not just about the office of the president. Indeed, the president is mentioned by name as the ultimate recipient of all of these CVs. Why? What is happening? I don't understand. There's a third question which is important. And this memo from the Electoral Commission is actually signed by Mr. Samuel D. Buedu, who is the Director of Human Resource. I've worked in the public service for a while and so on. And I think that everybody in the public service ought to have a personal file. Personal file which must include their CVs.
Updated.
Which is updated regularly. I mean, if you're going to go on a steady leave which would affect your CV, it ought to be on your personal file and so on. So, why is this request being made by the head of human resource? Is it that they don't have the CVs of their top officials on file? And if they don't have the CVs of their top officials on file, why? And how? I don't understand. So there are all of these questions that are popping up. In any case, what does this do to the independence of bodies like the Electoral Commission, like the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, like the National Commission on Civic Education, and so on? What does this say about their independence? Now, if it is for the purposes of a reshuffle of some sort, removal from office or replacement and so on, I think we need to go back to the Constitution and ask the most important question, whether the president indeed has powers to go into institutions, especially independent public institutions, constitutional institutions, and go beyond the very top to the lower top, to interfere with appointments. Does he have the locus?
So so here we're even looking at splitting even the two to constitutional bodies and then the public service, for example. Now, but for this letter from the Electoral Commission, we would have assumed that the state agencies excluded constitutional bodies.
That's important.
But per what we have, it shows that it then includes the constitutional bodies who are also compliant with the directive.
Yeah. But more importantly,
yes.
I think recent history also ought to teach us a few lessons. And I'm talking about very, very recent history. We've had the appointment of Professor, what is his name? Is it Etuahine? The recently appointed member of the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
You understand? Now, that should be ringing alarm bells all over the place. If you take that into consideration and you see this memo from the head of human resource of the Electoral Commission, you should be worried. What's going to happen? That matter of the appointment of a card-bearing member of the party, who is also a member of the communications team of the party onto the Electoral Commission, has not been dealt with already. It has not been dealt with sufficiently. There have been petitions crying left, right, and center. It has not come to a logical, firm conclusion. And then, all of a sudden, out of the blue comes this memo, which says that this comes to inform you that the office of the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has requested for the curriculum vitae of senior management of state agencies from director and above. You are therefore requested to submit your CV by noon today. If I was talking about 24 hours, it's less than 24 hours. 29th May 2023, through a certain email address for the attention of the commission.
When I get to Eric, I would even ask him whether it's even proper to use a Gmail account by the HR head of the EC, because I recall that there was even a directive, about this email issue and all that. But
one of the achievements of Dr. Baumia, I'm told.
Yeah, okay. But the email I see here, by the email for the director of HR, this is a Gmail account.
Anyway, so these are the issues which I think are legitimate to raise for now.
Okay, so I've been going through the functions of the Public Services Commission. I mean, as for constitutional bodies there, perhaps is a no-no. But
do you have a copy of the 1992 Constitution here? It will be useful in this conversation.
Yes. What exactly do you want?
Well, the survey, the relevant articles on the Public Services Commission.
So if you take the Public Services Commission, I have that. And for example, if you want the functions, I can give you. Okay. So the functions, so this is actually the functions are captured in Section 4 of the Public Services Commission Act 1994, Act 482. And it says that the functions of the Commission are A, to advise government on the criteria for appointment to public offices, as well as persons to hold or act in public offices. B, to promote efficiency, accountability, and integrity in the public services. C, to prescribe appropriate systems and procedures for the management of personal records within the public services. Maybe I should repeat that again. To prescribe appropriate systems and procedures for the management of personal records within the public services. D, to identify, explore, and promote the recruitment of suitable personnel into the public services, acting in collaboration with educational authorities. E, to undertake planning of manpower requirements of the public services using data from the educational institutions and other sources. F, to improve recruitment policies and techniques by introducing modern methods of judging suitability of officers. G, to conduct examinations and interviews for appointment to posts and for promotions in the public service or within public operations to ensure uniformity of standards of selection and qualifications. H, to review the organization, structure, and manpower requirements of agencies and bodies in the public services and advise government on such manpower rationalization as may be necessary for maximum utilization of human resources in the public services. I, to oversee the human resources development activities of the public services organizations to ensure career planning and career development in the public services. J, to conduct in collaboration with training institutions personnel research into human resources management in the public services in order to improve personnel practices and their utilization in the public services. And K, to perform any other duties assigned to it under the Constitution or any other enactment. So even when it comes to the public services or institutions in the public service, anything about planning of manpower requirements, improving recruitment policies and techniques, appropriate systems and procedures for the management of personal records, identification and exploration and promotion recruitment of suitable personnel, promotion of efficiency, accountability, and integrity. All these things are within the mandate of the Public Services Commission.
Yeah, it's very clear.